Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday. Here we are. So, quick question for you today is, are you using this Olympic technique to reach your goals? That's right. If you are stalled or stuck, or your inner critic is being really loud and is driving your business, is driving all of the machines, driving all the decisions in your business, perhaps you could change that by using this Olympic technique that I am going to share with you. And welcome aboard. Tell me who is here today. Happy to be here. Welcome. I'm so glad. If this is your first time or you are new to my world, welcome aboard. And I am Diana Lidstone, the Entrepreneur's GPS, and we help you shift your marketing and shift your beliefs so that you can make more money and stand out as the authority in your industry that you should be. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, actually, we're taking a little bit from my book, Shift into Rich. And the month of May has really been about mindset. Has really been about shifting beliefs. And you might wonder, well, why is a marketing person talking about that? Well, the reason I'm talking about this is because so many entrepreneurs have this reluctance, have this fear, have this inner critic that talks to them about, oh, maybe, I shouldn't be too visible. I don't want to be seen as pushy. Maybe these are some of the things that kind of are going around in the background in your mind. And if it is, I'd love for you to share in the comments, I'll use the word fear, but it doesn't have to be a fear. But what is that inner critic saying to you about being more visible, about actually going out there and shamelessly promoting yourself, right? What is that? What are the words that you hear running in the background? I know for me, there's been many things running in the background of my itty bitty shitty committee, but I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you specifically. No judgment. We all have the inner critic running around in the back of our minds. So welcome aboard. Remember, it's #live or #replay when you come on board for Thursday's training. So welcome aboard. I know there's some people out there and you're kind of creeping and you're kind of watching and you're not making any comments, but the best way to get some shifts happening in your business is to participate. And as I said, we're going to take a look today at, if you have my book, by the way, this is in chapter 7. This is about being in the driver's seat and allowing the wrong driver, in other words, the itty bitty shitty committee, to drive the decisions, predominantly drive those decisions in your business. And if you have the hard copy, we're going to look at page 97. And for those of you who have perhaps been lucky enough to have been gifted the PDF copy, you should look under that chapter 7 that talks about the driver's seat, roadblock number 7, and we're talking about the inner critic. So let's get into 4 steps that will help you get back into the driver's seat. And what is that tool that Olympians all use? They all use visualization. That's right. They all use visualization as a really strong tool to help them not only visualize their success, but really embody their success. And there's a difference between just visualizing and really embodying it. And I'll explain what I mean by using an example of my daughter when she was ill. And so, I'm not going to go into that whole story. You can read it in the book. But my daughter was bedridden for 7 years with chronic fatigue. And the one of her tools that she had that made her well again was this visualization of being in her happy place. And the story I love telling, because it warms my heart so much, was we were driving somewhere. I was driving. She was sitting in the passenger seat. And she said, Mom, don't talk to me. I need to do my visualization. So, Mom being the dutiful person, I let her do her visualization. And I happened to look over to her sitting in the passenger seat at one point. And she was doing this. She had her eyes closed. She had this huge smile on her face. And there was this sense of whole peace and calm. And I know it's hard for you to see what I'm going to be doing, but she was doing this. And when she finished, I asked her what she was doing. And she said, Mom, my happy place is sitting in my kayak. So she was paddling her kayak. She said, yes, I'm feeling the sun on my face, the warmth of the sun. I'm feeling that little bit of breeze that's happening. It just, she says, it makes my heart sing. She says, and I'm listening and I hear the red-winged blackbirds. And I come up on some ducks and I hear them quacking. Her visualization was really embodied. She felt it, right? She wasn't just sitting there thinking, oh yeah, it's nice to be standing on the podium like an Olympian. She got into the visualization in a whole different way. That is what I mean by true visualization. Okay? So there is a complete difference. And visualizing what you want from your business, I find this is such an area where entrepreneurs don't spend enough time. They aren't detailed as to what your business, you really want it to look like. What do you want it to feel like? How do you want to feel when you're working with your clients? How much money do you want to make? And details, like not just how much money, but why you want to make that money. What will that money do for you? How will, a happy client make you feel? What is that feeling? And bring that feeling really, really to the surface. And when we can really name that feeling, when we can embody it truthfully, when we have this detailed dream or this great big picture of what we want our business to look like, only then can we truly, truly embody it and visualize it. So that is how to get into and use this Olympic tool. It's not just, thinking about it. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize if you're hearing a whole bunch of noise in the background. I'm having a new roof installed today. Yes, a new roof. So, but we're here, we're doing lives, and we're just going for it. So awesome. So how many of you that are listening, that are watching, whether it's live or in replay, have spent some time being very specific about what it is you want from your business, right? So I'd like you to write in the chat, do you have written out your detailed dream? Or have you given it some thought? Or should you be giving it some more thought? So, let's have a conversation here about how you feel about your business. Do you know what you want it to feel like, to look like? Why? What is your driving motivator? Okay. All right. So #live or #replay. So the first step is to visualize. The second step is to become aware. And it's really truthfully to become aware of that inner critic. It's not to fight with that inner critic. It's not to say, go away. It's to become aware that it's actually happening. So my husband will tell you he doesn't have an inner critic. And I'm going, liar, liar, pants on fire, because he's not aware of it. We all have our inner critic to some degree, and we need to be able to listen to it, become aware of what it is saying. And for some people, their inner critic, when they start becoming aware of it, when they start listening to it, and I don't mean listening to it to make a decision, but listening to the actual words, they go, huh, that's my mother, or that's my father, or that's a teacher I had once. So when you become tuned into it, you may actually realize who that inner critic's voice belongs to. And as I said, it's not about arguing with our inner critic. It's about listening to that voice and kind of going, it's okay. It's okay. I've got this. I've got this. I'm going to change that voice. And I have made a decision. So your inner critic lives over here. Just tell that inner critic, hey, Mom, it's okay. I've got this. I'm listening to my inner wise woman who sits over here. And that's the inner wise woman is telling me something else. Okay? So you've got to become aware. You've got to be tuned into that. Step number 3 is to replace those negative words with positive ones. So, and I've written some on the page here, and it says, sometimes we aren't hearing these exact words. We aren't hearing the exact words, well, I'm not good enough. We might be hearing words like, people like me, we just don't earn that kind of money. People like us. Or, what else? I'm not good enough. I certainly couldn't charge that amount of money. I feel bad charging that amount of money. Those are indications that you might be feeling that I'm not good enough. But I can tell you, we are all good enough. And a way to shift that is when you become aware of that and you're hearing things like that, then shift it and go, no, I think I'm going to say instead, I love and approve myself, right? I am worthy. Or things like, if you find yourself saying things like, I'm afraid, I don't want to be visible, I don't want to be judged. Your inner wise woman can say, I can do this, just watch me, right? Or, I don't have the self-confidence. I've decided to be me, who I really am, and approve of myself as I am. So let me share a personal experience with you in terms of, becoming ourselves. I had a coach at one time who said, Diana, you need to be softer. You need to be, you need to couch things more gently. You need to be softer with your clients. You need to use more positive words with your clients. And it's true, because one of my core beliefs is about honesty. And honesty just authentically flows from between these two lips. And while it is true, I've had to learn to temper that to some degree, I had to acknowledge that that's what made me me. My honesty makes me who I am. And so I had to acknowledge that characteristic of myself and embrace it, and that's who I am. And there are people who don't want to work with me because of that. And there are people who want to work with me because of that. But once I acknowledge that characteristic instead of fighting it, that was authentically me. Okay? So as you become aware of what that inner critic is saying to you, don't say, well, yes, of course I am good enough, because all that's doing is reinforcing the negativity. It's just, no, I come from a place of love and approval of myself. Okay? Hashtag live. You guys are so quiet out there today. Maybe it's the heat that's getting to you, right? Maybe it's the heat that's getting to you. All right, so we've done step number 1 is visualize, but it's visualize with intention and emotion. Step number 2 is to become aware of the thoughts of that inner critic. Step number 3 is to replace those words with more positive ones. And step number 4 is to repeat with feeling and emotion. So again, as we talked about in step number 1, that visualization with feeling and emotion and intent, saying positive affirmations does nothing until you get yourself into that with feeling and emotion. I do some EFT tapping with some of my clients, and they can be sitting there and they can be tapping away. And if they're not paying attention, if they're not focused on what we're doing, they could be tapping their heads with sledgehammers and it's not going to work. So focus, attention, and feeling is really, really, really important. Repetition, 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 repetition. Beginning of the day, end of the day, right? That's what helps us tremendously. Yeah, this is something I just reading in my book. This was something that I've done for years. Okay, so an example of this 4-step process might be, and this is true for me, I close my eyes and imagine a client paying me handsomely. And I imagine that I'm printing an invoice, because I print off my invoices to give to my bookkeeper. And the amount on that invoice is outrageous. And I go, there's that invoice, and it's just coming through that printer. I can hear it. I can feel the excitement. And I look at that invoice and I go, yes, right? That is some real positive energy. That's about getting into that feeling of being successful and swelling up inside. Truth of the matter is, I can honestly tell you that this year I have printed off invoices, and these are monthly amounts, for 10 times the amount that I charged when I first started my coaching business. 10 times. And now my challenge is to visualize that number even higher, right? Okay, so what is that next level of success that I'm looking for? Because as you know, success isn't a linear thing. It doesn't go, you just don't go up, 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 up. You go up, you stall. Sometimes you may even go down. You stall, you figure some new things out, up, then there's a next level. There is always a next level. You see people on Facebook, you see people on social media who are talking about, whatever they're talking about and how they've hit this amazing level of success. They don't tell you about all the years before where they failed and where success was slow and growth was slow. Growth is not linear. Your success is not linear. But can your success be easy? Is that a word you want to use? Is your success simple? Is that a word you want to use? How do you want to explain your success? And whatever that is, I'd love for you to write it in the chat. What does your success look like? Maybe there's a word. I am successful. I am easily successful. I am repeatably successful. What is it? And how is it? How do you want success to look like? And I'd love for you to share that in the comments here today. What does your success look like? Right? What does your success look like? Or maybe you're not really sure, and that's okay. So share that in the comments as well. Has this been thought-provoking? Has this, so the question to you as you're watching here live or on replay, hashtag replay, what is your takeaway from this 20 minutes that you have spent with me? Because I hope that there is a takeaway for you, that you will be able to take these 4 steps and see that you can sit in the driver's seat of your business. And actually, by shifting your beliefs, you can shift your success. That's really all I want for you, right? I just want you to have more success, whatever it is for you, and whatever it looks like for you. So thanks so much for watching today. If you'd like to go to the next level in this chapter, there is an amazing visualization that I've used. I've borrowed this from Tara Moyer from her book, but I've given her credit in the book. And it's, I would suggest that you do it and then take a journal and write down your impressions, your thoughts, and your discoveries. Thanks so much for spending time with me this afternoon. Take care. And here's to your success, because I know you can do it. Bye for now.